Hi. So I've had a couple of people asking me about corrections recently. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to give you some tips and hints on different approaches to corrections. My name is Jenny and I'm an English language coach for non-native teachers of English. So let's have a look. I've got three options for ways to do correcting. Quite often teachers are the ones who do the majority of the correcting. Obviously, they're the teachers, and this is quite traditional, but we have some other options as well. So we can ask the students to correct themselves, or we can ask the students to correct each other. So if we want the students to correct themselves, we have to give them some time to think. This can be that you ask them the question and give them a moment's pause during the lesson to take a minute, think about what they said, and review it and revise it, and hopefully come up with the right answer. Or it can be their writing, and rather than you correcting their writing, you could just highlight or underline where the mistakes are and then give it back to the student. And again, they have the time, possibly as for homework, to look through it again and correct any mistakes. Giving the students the chance to correct their own mistakes actually helps them because they have to think about what they did wrong, think about why, and also take the time to come up with the correct answer. So this can be really beneficial for the students. Thinking about peer correction, again, this can be oral or written. So in class, if a student doesn't know the answer, you could ask their classmates if they can help. This can be a good way to check whether it's a group problem or an individual problem with a certain aspect of grammar or vocabulary or pronunciation. It can give you some feedback on the class as a whole. If no one else is able to help, then perhaps it's a bigger problem, not just with one student. We can also ask students to give written feedback to each other. So this could be feedback on presentations, on group work. And if you have a key for corrections, you can also ask students to correct each other's writing. This might seem a little bit overwhelming for some students, so what you can do is limit what they are correcting. So you can give a small group of students the task of checking the spelling in a text or in a few texts. You can get another group of students to check the past simple verbs, for example, make sure they're all correct. So depending on what the focus of the writing was, you can get different groups to focus on different aspects of that. This is similar for the teachers, you know how you correct your students. Again, it can be verbal or as a written feedback. And you can do this in a number of ways. You can give the students the correct answer. You can repeat the incorrect answer back to them. Sometimes they pick up on this, sometimes they don't, but facial expressions, pauses in the right place can really help convey meaning. Actually, you don't even need to speak sometimes. You can just use hand gestures or facial expressions to tell them that something they said wasn't quite right. The last thing that I would like to think about here is it always necessary to correct our students? This is something that is up to us as the teacher to decide whether it's essential or not. If students are doing some free speaking, I would suggest that it's probably not necessary to correct them while they're speaking. The main reason that they're speaking is to communicate. As long as you can understand what they're saying, then corrections aren't necessary whilst they're speaking. You can make notes and perhaps at the end write a couple of sentences on the board, ask the class to correct them. This doesn't have to just be from one student, it could be from several students. And you don't have to point out who made which mistake if you think that the mistakes are something that anyone could have made. The other thing to think about is whether you need to do corrections in class or whether to set these for homework. If you have anything to add, any questions or any experiences, please comment below the video. I hope that this was helpful and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.